right, guys, I've had a lot of people requesting a driver lesson. They're like, you haven't done a driver lesson in some time. I'm going to do that today. The theme of this lesson is what Rory McIlroy does compared with what the recreational golfer can actually do when it comes to driving the golf ball. You're looking at Rory and you're seeing him hit 340-yard, 5-degree up high rip draws. I've been doing this a very, very long time. I've worked with a lot of very good players over the years, a lot of elite golfers, and I just have a lot of fun working with recreational golfers, golfers like yourself, weekend warriors. Maybe you've got a lot of limitations, maybe you don't, but try to swing like Rory McIlroy. We can learn from it. There's some pearls that we can take from what he does. There's no question about that. But you've got to understand, Rory's like a ballerina that plays golf, okay? His strength to body weight is absolutely off the charts. I would say 0.001% of human beings are probably capable of doing the things that he does, okay? He's trained himself extremely hard. On top of the strength, his mobility is off the charts, okay? Now, most of you don't have close to that type of strength and mobility. So what's going to work for you? My club head speed's close to 110 miles an hour. I carry the golf ball with my driver around 270. If I'm hitting it really well, 275. I can't get to that 280 point without starting to lose a lot of control, have a lot of mishits. So that's kind of where my envelope is at this point. But I can relate to you in a much closer way than you may think. I've got something called adhesive capsulitis, which is a frozen shoulder on my left side here. Getting a bit more personal today. It's been a real struggle for me. I've had it for about 10 weeks now. It's one of the reasons I've not been doing driver lessons. I'm okay, you know, hitting a lot of punch shots and finishing low. It's kind of related to an autoimmune condition that I have. I'm getting taken care of. I've got wonderful physical therapists. I've been in therapy now for about 8 or 9 weeks, trying to increase my mobility. I'm going to show you my range of motion that I have, and you guys are going to be able to relate to this, okay? So this is called external rotation. You can see my trail hand here. Can you see how I can essentially keep my elbow here and move my hand, you know, quite a lot to the right? This is what I've got on the left, and I'm not joking. I'm actually trying to move my hand in the same direction. I've got absolutely nothing. Also, when it comes to elevating my arms, all right, it is my right arm. I can get it all the way up, and this is where I am with my left at this point, okay? With rotation, which is incredibly important, I'm doing so much better than I used to be able to do, but you can see my trail hand, I can get my palm to the sky. I used to be here. That is definitely improving, but you can see I'm very limited with my mobility. So it's not something where I've got a tear in my shoulder or I'm going to do any major damage. It's just very, very painful if I start to push that envelope. So my feeling is, what can I do to help you understand that I can still actually play golf? All right, I have to be very realistic right now. My club head speed has dropped immensely, probably into the type of speed that many of you have that are watching these videos. As I say, I was 109. My club head speed right now is closer to around 90 miles an hour, which is pretty much getting close to average swing speed. Probably if you're in your 60s and you're at 90, and 95 would be quite a lot. 100 is definitely very, very high. So let's talk about Rory for a second and why Rory is as good as Rory is. Okay, the first thing Rory does, and I'm gonna have to take my left hand off the golf club as I can't get into these positions. Rory has extraordinary depth at the top of his backswing. He's got one of the deepest pivots, the deepest turns in golf, without any question. It's absolutely amazing. And he gets the butt end of his golf club kind of behind his heels. All right, it's actually behind his heels, okay? So extraordinarily rotated behind the golf ball, guys. Amazing pivot, okay? You can see, look at where my left hand is. It's not even close to being able to do that. In combination with that, what he does is he actually shallows the golf club from here by adding a considerable amount of what we call right side bend as his lower body shifts forward. Can you see that? All right, so that's actually dropping the club onto an even shallower orbit. So now he's coming a long way from the inside. Why does that work for Rory McIlroy? Okay, well, Rory McIlroy is up through the ball with his driver more than anyone on tour. 4 or 5 degrees up his angle of attack with the driver. What most of you don't realize is that If you swing up through a golf ball, it moves your swing path for every degree you're up about a degree to the left. Okay, so if you're 5 degrees up for the average golfer, you're naturally going to be swinging 5 degrees left. Now, Rory counteracts that with this extraordinary depth and right side bend. So he's able to have a beautiful rip high draw that's a perfect matchup. He's coming a long way from the inside guys to compensate for the fact that he's swinging up. The challenge we've got for most of you, you're not going to be able to create that depth. No way. I mean, get the right hit behind you, and there's no question that's going to help. But most of you are going to be very limited in being able to get that much of a turn. You're also in a hurry to turn your upper body the other way. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. So you're getting the club into a pretty steep orbit. So the worst thing you can do is play the ball way forward, because you're going to turn your 7-iron, which is probably a pretty straight shot, right? Maybe a little bit of a draw, or maybe it's a little bit of a fade. And with the same golf swing, what you're asking yourself is, why in the world does my driver slice? All right, tell me I'm wrong. Send me a comment, okay? I'd love to hear from you, because I've got people coming down for immersions, and this is all that happens. We get people who hit the irons pretty well, they're kind of solid, and they make the same, in their mind, they make the same swing with the driver, and it's just got a tail on it, and they're hitting weak shots out to the right. That's because, in my opinion, the ball position is too far forward. Recreational golfers, this is really important. You're far better off playing your ball a little bit further back in your stance. You got to find what works for you. I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong. You've got to find what works for you. But understand, if you're going to play the ball a little bit further forward, understanding that the more up we swing, the more left we swing, you're going to have to move the direction of your golf swing further to the right. You've got to walk around the corner to the right. If you're going to play that ball forward to hit up on the golf ball, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be exiting left. You're going to be hitting pulls and slices all day long. It's far easier, in my opinion, to play the golf ball a little further back, all right? The first thing that's going to happen here is you're not going to have enough loft on your golf club, okay? I've got a 10.5 degree driver here that was set to 10 degrees, and I use my wrench, and what I've done is I've added 1.5 degrees. I've got a 12 degree driver at this point, so I've got a little bit more loft. That has the added advantage, guys, of actually, if you sit it down, you're going to see the club face is a little closed. The more you add loft, it's the opposite to what you think. The more you add loft, when you sit it down, it's actually going to look like the toe is turned in. So for you slicers, that's like gold in both directions. You've got more loft. You've also got a club face that's a little bit more closed. Helps it. It really helps. When I put the ball forward, I want you to look at my eyes. If I put the ball forward, guys, like way up here, my eyes are going to generally orient themselves on this plane, okay? I'm going to turn my eyes to look at the golf ball. Our eyes are generally going to follow the plane of the shoulders, and vice versa. If I'm talking to you right now, my eyes are parallel. I'm not going to stand here and talk to you like this or talk to you like this. Your eyes follow the plane of your shoulders. So when I turn my head to the left to look at the golf ball, because it's not directly in front of me anymore, it's over here, most people that I see, their shoulders get considerably open. From there, it's number one, very difficult to create depth, and number two, it's going to be very easy to start spinning, all right? And that's where slicers really have a lot of trouble. So by moving the ball back, guys, I would say for most golfers, start off, and again, don't think I'm crazy here, this is going to work, okay? But start off with the ball in the middle of your stance, okay? Right in the center of your stance, as a drill, okay, just as a drill. Make sure that you have a little bit of tilt as you're doing this. So you see my hands, my fingertips are in the same position on my leg. We're going to raise the left fingers and we're going to lower the right a little bit, and that's going to get my head kind of on the back of the golf ball. Can you see that? So even though the ball's in the middle, I'm going to tilt myself a little bit to the right. Now what that's immediately going to do, guys, it's going to get your eye plane, right? Your eye plane is going to be very different. Where it was forward, with the ball forward, you're a lot more neutral now as you set up to it. So now your eyes are on a much better corridor. Can you see that? So I'm now in this plane as opposed to this plane. Now, if I combine a little bit of tilt, you can see here my eyes actually shift. Can you see what's happening? Actually shifted a little bit to the right, as do my shoulders. So you're giving yourself a little bit of a head start, Okay, you're giving yourself a little bit of a head start. So now I look down, I've got a lot more loft. I've got a 12-degree driver, which for my speed right now, at around 90 miles an hour, okay, is going to be just fine. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and set up to it, and then I'm going to hit a couple with the ball almost in the center of my stance. Let's do that. All right, so what happened there is I pushed it way out to the right, which makes sense, right? The further I play the ball back in my stance, the more my club is swinging out to the right. Now, for those of you that come over the top, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees plus, actually having your golf swing shift to the right and hit a push, not a slice, guys, but a push, is going to be very, very helpful, because last time I checked, a push, a ball that goes straight right, is half a draw. That's important to understand. So there's some things we're going to need to do differently with our wrists as we start our downswing that's going to take that push and turn it into a draw. And I really believe in a very short space of time, maybe 25 or 30 minutes, I can get a lot of you hitting draws. I know I'm going to get some comments here with people hitting draws. Now, I don't want the ball in the center. I just want you to start off with the ball in the center, and then we're going to start to creep it a little bit further forward. Now, what I'm going to do differently on this swing, I'm going to still kind of put the ball in the center of my stance. I'll leave this here for a second. So this is crazy. What are you doing hitting driver on the center? Just get to vanilla for a second. This is not how you hit drivers. I just want to try and really interrupt the circuit board a little bit, okay? So we've got it in the middle of our stance. Now, what you're used to doing, okay, when you come over the top of it, because the ball's a long way forward, remember, and you're trying to get to it, you're used to dragging the toe of the club behind the heel. And then maybe at the last second, right, maybe a thousandth of a second before impact, you're trying to snap it closed. What we want to do here, okay, is we want to take the golf club here and we want to start to turn the toe of the club down a lot more behind us than we're comfortable doing, all right? This is a gradual rotation. Can you see where it started to turn down here? So I'm getting the club face, which isn't pointing at the camera now. I'm going to feel like it's pointing at the camera way more behind me, okay? Remember, this is a feel rather than a reel. This is what most of you would do, okay? Like here, a lot of people compare baseball with golf. Listen, there are some similarities, but there's a lot of differences. Last time I checked, a baseball bat doesn't have a club face on it, right? This is baseball. Boom, right? Where's the club face pointing, guys? Up. Not a lot of supination here. Not a lot of pronation, right? Not a lot of twisting and rotation of the forearms in baseball. No question, we've got a similar kinematic sequence, but the rotation is going to be very different. We spiral or twist the shaft a little bit as we change direction. So let's go ahead and get it done. Ball in the center of my stance. Go to the top. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to turn this toe down way more behind me. Some of you are going to have to feel like you're doing it almost immediately. Keeping your back to the target. Let's see what happens when I do that. All right, there's my draw. Now, the golf ball started way right, but the club face to path wasn't open because I turned my toe to the left. All right, guys, different camera angle, same thing, okay? Playing it in the center of my stance. I've got my 12-degree driver. I'm gonna go ahead and set up to it. Notice my eye plane is absolutely, go down my leg, it's tilting a little bit to the right. And that's going to bode very well for you guys that come over the top of it. So what I'm going to do here is I go to the top of my backswing. I'm going to do the best I can. I cannot elevate my left arm, so this is about all I've got right now. I'm going to keep my back to the target. Watch the club face here. Really exaggerated. You see how I'm starting to give it a little twist back here? Don't conflate this with this. All right, you firing your body at it isn't going to move the club face at all. I promise you. You've got to actuate your wrists. Let's go ahead and hit one here with this limitation and see if I can bunt one out there. Ball's in the center of my stance. It's too far back, okay? Right now it's too far back. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, that is a low stinger draw. Okay, it's exactly what I'm looking for right now, but it might be just a fraction too low. But the good news is, guys, I can go play with that, right? I don't have to finish with my hands above my head, thank goodness. I can't even do that right now. And I'm still hitting that golf ball out there, maybe 225, 230 with roll, right? And if you're playing a golf course around, you know, 6,300 yards or so, that's going to be very, very helpful, okay? So what we want to do over time here is start to move the ball a little further forward. I really want the golf ball between the center of your stance, right, which is where I've got it now, right in the middle of my stance, and my instep, all right? So I'm going to put the ball right in around here. That's what I'm looking to do, all right? This would be the center, obviously. You know, this is your instep, so right in between the two. But make sure that you maintain your eye plane. Make sure that your eyes are still tilted slightly to the right. Let's go ahead and hit one more. Now the ball's definitely back though. It still feels back to me. Very difficult for me to come over the top of it at this point, okay? Very hard. Go to the top of the backswing, keeping my back to the target as my arms drop, my head nicely behind the golf ball here. I'm not driving my upper body out in front of it. And let's see if I can get that same sort of stinger flight here, little low draw. Yep. Exactly the same thing. That is not what I'm looking for my golf game. It's all I have right now. I know many of you struggle with strength and mobility. We have to play the card we're dealt. I'm working my butt off to try and take care of this. I've got probably going to have a little surgery. They're going to crack my shoulder open like a walnut sometime in May, and I think the recovery is going to be not too bad. It's going to be pretty quick from what I'm told. No scalpels being used here, okay? Manipulation under anesthesia. All right, but I've got to get this sorted out, and I'm doing my best to take care of it. But it's been a wonderful lesson for me, because obviously with these limitations, it's not that I couldn't relate, all right, to the people that I'm coaching and the people I'm teaching. But you know what? There's a way around some of this stuff. There's another way to swing. You know, looking at videos, this is what Rory's doing. I mean, that's not terribly helpful for the vast majority of you. So understand, with the driver, add as much loft as you can, guys. It's going to be very, very helpful. Play the ball back. There's no way you're coming over the top of it close to as much. And start to actuate your wrist and arms, all right? Allow your arms to kind of pull you through the shot. Quit throwing the kitchen sink at it. It's going to make all the difference in the world. So I hope this is a good alternative for those of you that have a little slower ball speed. If you think this could help, go ahead and share. I always get back to people if you have any comments. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We'll talk to you next time.